Me, ma, oh, me, oh. Oh no, we're not singing.
No, not singing. Okay, welcome to our mini podcast, a little mini podcast edition that we're going to have here for Loudmouth Soup. I am your host, Farley.
And Robert.
And we're kind of really doing this to get back in the swing of things. We were off for an extra week there because I went ahead and took a vacation to Las Vegas, which, if you've never been to Las Vegas, it's quite spectacular. The main strip is pretty much like Disneyland, but, I mean, what was funny is that the drinks are cheaper than the food. And I think I was telling you about this, that the drinks, I mean, you get free drinks all the time. You get comped drinks just for playing the penny slots. We're spending like $5 on a slot machine for, like, say, an hour. And they just walk by and give you drinks and give you drinks and give you drinks. And it pretty much pays for itself. Not to mention they have all these sorts of deals like on frozen drinks, margaritas, things like that you can refill in like these huge giant glasses, which is just epic. But if you were more into, like, say, the old school type of Sin City, I definitely suggest you head off the strip and go to a couple of the crazier places.
Just walk?
Yeah. You have to walk. Well, because the main bus line, it only runs on the main strip.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the old stuff, or I'm sorry, a lot of the more nitty gritty Vegas type stuff is over on a couple of the other roads. And so yeah, we had to do a couple of like 2-mile hikes to get to, like, say, the Double Down Saloon, because we wanted to go listen to a couple of punk bands and have a few drinks from over there. They have like this fabled drink called the Ass Juice, which is awesome. Or I don't know if it was awesome or I was just extremely tired by the time we got there, but it's pretty good. So yeah, we went ahead and took a break because I was doing that, and Robert was doing a lot of working and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And
terrible.
And we were going to try and get together another podcast for tonight, which of course is Monday night, which is normally when we upload these things. But since Joe wasn't available today, he's going to be available either tomorrow or the next day, and we'll go ahead and actually have a full podcast with him. And if he wants to, he can go ahead and touch up on a couple of subjects that we're going to talk about today. But yeah, so first topic that I wanted to actually kind of get into, and it's kind of like feeding off of that last topic that we discussed at the last, which I promise we're not going to... We're going to try not to cover the same things over and over and over again, especially coming from our points of view, because we're both males and we're kind of assholes, and so...
Yes, we are.
We're quite a disappointment to our female counterparts, so...
A little bit.
Yeah, well...
Some of them, they do comprehend.
Well, you know what? I've been seeing a lot of, like, Facebook posts and stuff like that from women recently. Or not recently, but, like, in the past few months, about honesty and things like that, and how it's, like, a valuable trait. When in reality, I don't see that as a valuable trait, especially from a woman's perspective.
No.
I mean, if I were a woman, I'm not a woman, but if I were a woman, I wouldn't see honesty quite as a great trait.
Honesty hurts.
Yes, it does. It does hurt, and a lot of times they can't take it.
I don't think we all can take it.
No, we can't. We can't take it. Damn it!
I know.
But
just lie to me. Tell me I'm pretty,
please. But anyway, the first thing that I wanted to kind of discuss was, and the only reason why I wanted to cover it was because today was my first day back at work. Well, I take that back. I was doing night shifts at the end of last week, and then I had my weekend. And then today I went back to work during the day, so my schedule is still pretty thrown off. And you know, we're starting training for the new year. And today we decided to discuss, amongst like safety and other things like that, sexual harassment, which every workplace discusses.
Every workplace
sexual harassment.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have to. I think, like by law, they have to cover sexual harassment because men are just dirty bastards, and
super dirty.
They're always touching and looking at you in those unwelcome ways. But speaking of unwelcome, that was one of the terms that because the person that was doing this little seminar for us is in fact one of our sergeants, and she's a female, and you know, and she admits, you know, amongst like police officers and security officers, fire departments, things like that, there is a lot of sexual harassment, and it's really unintentional. It's just that our senses of humor in our field of work usually tends to be pretty nuts, and it's usually because we deal with so much crap that we kind of pull ourselves out of it by making these
weird,
ridiculous shock factor type jokes, and that's just how we are. And it's not just men; it's women too, especially in our workplace. Well, I don't know about your workplace.
Dude,
you're more in the retail, so you deal with like crying little girls and things like that.
Every other day. But you know what? There's this one girl that really surprised me. Just thought of it right now. It was me and another guy and another girl.
Uh-huh.
So it's, three of us in total. We were talking, I don't know how it came about. You know what? We were talking about the hotline, because there's a hotline in our store for HR, direct access. You could talk to them anonymously. I think, do you have it in your workplace?
Yeah. I
always
think every
anonymous.
Workplace does. Yeah, every workplace does have an HR
anonymous.
hotline.
Anyways, so we're all talking about, you know what? We're just going to call up this, just for whatever, just for bullshit reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, he just looked at me weird. Oh, and I don't know what. And somehow it went too deep. And I was like, yeah, I always get molested by him. And I pointed to the guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, man, I always molest you in the restroom. But it's okay when you do it from the same sex.
Well, yeah, because most of the time
I guess
we take it as humor, because it is humorous. We wouldn't do that. We know that we wouldn't do that.
We wouldn't do it. We just say it just for jokes. Oh, whatever. Like, well, do your reach around.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But what she said, it put everybody into a shock. She was like, well, I don't mind getting molested.
Yeah.
And it was like...
And that would throw you off, because that's borderline...
It's like, how would you take it? Like, would you molest her? Or was it a joke? And that's where the guy asked again. Was like, really? You wouldn't mind getting molested?
Okay, well, first of all, he should have never asked that.
I know he shouldn't, and that's why I stepped in and said, she's just joking, because we're all being molested here.
Yeah.
I had to.
No, yeah.
But she keeps pushing it, though.
Yeah, and you know what? And some women can take it, because some women do have that sense of humor. I mean, everyone knows that women by themselves are nastier than men. I mean, that's like a fact. It's just that men are able to be nastier in front of other people without really giving a shit about it. Where women have to like uphold this this lady-like look, and not all the time.
No.
A lot of the women that we deal with are usually pretty grungy, but yeah. So
in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way, of course.
Classy
grungy. Yeah, like if you were to throw like a violin on distortion.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But so anyway, we're discussing this sexual harassment thing, and the word that kept popping up was the term unwelcome.
Unwelcome.
I hate bringing that term into sexual harassment, because as far as from my perspective, it's either not allowed or it is allowed, that type of humor. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to keep a professional relationship, or if you actually want to take it further and actually have a friendship type of a relationship with people that you're working with, especially people that you click with, and you can have that kind of sense of humor, and it doesn't affect anybody. But she kept saying unwelcome. It can't be unwelcome. Blah blah blah, and then she mentioned mood swings as far as women go.
Oh God.
Okay, and she told us, she warned us. She was like, look, you can have a great, humorous relationship with a female in the workplace, especially if both of y'all joke like that. Of course, in private, blah, blah, blah. You pick on each other, you flirt around, it's whatever. But the moment that one day she comes back to work, okay, and you joke around the same way, and that particular day, she's just not having it, she could turn around and report you right on the spot. And you could lose your job. And that, to me, just fucks everything up, because first of all, as men, we don't have mood swings, and I'll tell you why about that.
Most men don't.
Yeah, most men don't have mood swings. Yeah. I'll tell you why in a second, but I mean, it threw me off that it comes down to a woman's mood, whether or not you're going to lose your job. Us as men, we do have a guy code. You don't fuck with somebody else's money. You don't fuck with their bread.
Yeah, their bacon.
That is their living. You don't mess with that, no matter what. Even if you have a personal grudge with somebody, whatever it is, you don't mess with that. And that's just an unwritten rule amongst men. But women tend to not have that problem, because as soon as they're offended, or they think that somehow their personal space is being fucked up with the workplace, blah blah blah. And that's why I think sexual harassment is so stressed, because in the long run, yes, women are the victim when it comes to that, but only because they're offended in the first place.
And that,
A woman can joke around like that with a guy, and a guy most of the time won't get offended, unless, of course, he has zero interest in that woman at all. And that comes down to something she was telling us that they were taught at a recent seminar for, police services, peace officers, and things like that.
yeah.
And what she was saying was said in the seminar, is that all men suffer from a disorder, which is an antisocial disorder. Essentially, deep down, all men are antisocial. Now, they can go one of two ways. They either go the sociopathic way or the psychopathic way. And a lot of people might be listening to this and be like, oh, I'm not a sociopath or I'm not a psychopath. But the fact of the matter is that deep down you are, no matter what it is. The only difference is that sociopaths know the difference between right and wrong, and they can sit there and they can judge, well, you know what, if I say this, if I can manipulate this, if I can do this a certain way, it'll grant me, like, I guess, more prosperity as far as socially. So like the social game goes, you know what I mean? Like, we can sit there.
They're seeing how the game, if I go take this route, I know I'm going to get this comment right back. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. Like, men, as far as sociopaths go, they're able to sit there and read a situation, and they know whether or not it's wrong. Like, for example, some of the things that we joke about and we say here, we only joke about and say them here because this is our way to vent, really.
Yeah,
a lot of times we don't go in public and we don't talk this shit at work, but because that's not... I mean, because this here is who we are. It's raw, it's truth, and this is the way a lot of men think. And a lot of times it's funny, but it's only funny because it's truth. It's
the hardcore truth.
It's the hard truth.
This is the honesty. This is the good traits that we have.
Yeah. That is one thing. The good thing that men do have is honesty. And of course, or you can go the psychopath way, where you don't know the difference between right and wrong, and that's the difference between sexual harassment in the workplace. Okay, a sociopath or a normal person per se can sit there and have a naughty joke or two with a woman and understand that yes, it's a joke. Then you have a psychopath, which isn't joking, is actually coming on to you, is actually trying to grab you, is actually trying to maybe force himself upon you, and that is when, it should be deemed or considered unwelcome.
But it should, I think what you said, it should be there on the spot when you first pull out that joke because you feel that it's comfortable.
Exactly. If that woman wants to have that kind of relationship with you, a social relationship with you, where y'all can joke about things like that and all that stuff, she should let you know on the spot, you know what, I don't like those kind of jokes, or react positively and joke back. Yeah. Now, of course, once it starts to get too far, she should let the line be known, again, and that's it. Yeah. It shouldn't really go any further than that. And a man in the right mind will understand, okay, you know what, that is too far. And the moment he goes too far, well, then that's when, she can go ahead and tell somebody or warn somebody and stuff like that. But a lot of times, even then, women will wait for forever until it gets so bad.
They bottle it up?
Yeah, that they just bottle up and freak out. Now, we talked about men being antisocial and going sociopath or psychopath. They also said all women suffer from personality disorder, and that's all women. And this is one of the reasons why they say that most women don't have very successful relationships with other women. Of course, a woman will always say, "Oh, you know what? I just do so much better around guys than girls."
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. And the reason why is because with the guy, you either are of zero sexual interest, and it's one of those rare actual friendships.
Yeah.
Or he is interested in you, and he's giving you the attention that you want. Whereas a woman doesn't have to give you either or. She can be your peer, she can be your acquaintance, she can be, whatever. Yeah. She doesn't have to be that way. And women with personality disorders, I mean, I can just imagine me and you having personality disorders, where one day you come over and I'm a fucking asshole, and the next day you come over and I'm just the nicest guy and I'm giving you back rubs. I mean, we would go insane. We would really, really go insane. And I do believe that whenever she was telling us that was one of the reasons why.
We stopped hanging around with our best friend that's my best man.
Yes. If we want to talk about him, yeah. So yeah, that'll be all we talk about for the women and sexual harassment, because I know a lot of women don't like the fact that we're dogging on them, and we're not. And it's not that we're singling out
no, we're
women.
not.
We're not singling out women. It's just that,
you know what? Look, a positive there is this one girl at work.
Uh-huh.
She really, she put down the line. She said, "You know what? I do not like cussing. I don't like the bad words. That's something I get offended, and it's something that I respect." Her and said, "You know what? Okay, I won't cuss in front of you."
Yeah.
But it's something drawn at
But you know
the
what? I've
line.
never really known you to really cuss. I mean, you only kind of cuss when you're here. You don't really...
Well, sometimes at work, I mean, dude, come on. I just there and just looking.
And I'm not gloating about this, but I'm a salty bastard and I cuss all the time.
Well,
And it's not like you cuss all the time.
No, I don't.
So that's the only reason why I could say I'm like, well, I don't ever really hear you cuss, but only because your level of cussing,
it's lower.
yeah, it's lower than mine, so
lower.
I can't really tell.
I think the viewers can see the height difference. Can
Yes.
you see it? Can you see?
Yeah, they can see it. So, but yes. Speaking of psychopaths, what was that study you were telling me about?
Oh, I was looking on some YouTube videos, and there's this one video that really caught my attention, and it's a question. I mean, to everyone. It's about. Damn, I forgot.
The one you were telling me about, it's a scenario.
Yes,
and it's a psychologist, and he sits there and he goes, "Okay, well, you know what? There's let's say that you're a surgeon. Yeah. You're a transplant surgeon, and you have 5 patients that all need a body part, and if they don't get that body part, they're going to die. And there happens to be 0 donors, and then something about a traveler walking in.
Yeah, just do a regular checkup.
Yeah, you're going to do a regular checkup on a traveler, and he happens to be the perfect donor for all 5 of those, and without suffering any kind of repercussions for it, would you sacrifice that one man to save 5 others? I think that's what the scenario was.
Yeah, and I think you and I both agreed. Yeah, there was no consequence. Of course.
No, definitely. I would definitely sacrifice 1 for 5, but I do believe that the psychologist said that is the behavior of a psychopath. That a normal person with normal morals would go, of course, that's wrong. You should never sacrifice 1 person, even if it means saving 5 others. And that to me is just stupid. But what did he call us? Besides psychopaths, utilitarians or something like that.
Something like that. We're gonna have to see it again and
yeah, and try and dissect it a little bit. But then he was also talking about how.
Well, how the psychopaths responded. Well, it's like, will it be easier for you for if that one person, if that traveler was like was a terrorist,
yeah,
and the 5 others were like a peacemaker or something very high up,
yeah,
that could
something extremely like respected and prestigious amongst our society.
Yeah, would that make it any different?
Yeah.
I guess what he's trying to do is trying to make it
he's trying to swing the pendulum and make the people with the moral ideals kind of shift their thought the other way into a more utilitarian point of view, which I didn't really get to listen to it all, but I don't know if they did or they didn't. The normal people actually swayed from their moral beliefs. But me and you had a pretty strong belief that I would sacrifice 1 for 5.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, to me, that's kind of a no-brainer.
It is, and I mean, he did say that's a lot of the world power leaders have to go through. A lot of political leaders. Little political leaders. There you go. They have to go through it. How he says, through natural disasters, going to war, knowing that you're going to have losses and it's not going to really eat you up. Because you already know the sacrifices you need to make in order to get your mission completed or your objective.
Yeah,
that's what he said. And another question that he did say: if you were left in a room by yourself for 10 minutes, and with a baby, and I'll go ahead and tell you that baby is going to grow up to be Adolf Hitler. To go ahead and how was it?
Like would you actually?
Yeah, would you?
Would you actually smother the baby?
with a pillow,
knowing that knowing that you're going to be saving millions of lives, or would you morally not be able to kill that baby?
Yeah, and going into the factor as well. I mean, some of you
Suffer
guys,
no repercussions.
Yeah, everything's gonna go out the same. You just saved millions of lives. All the studies have been there.
But of course, you'd have to live with this on your conscience.
That you killed the baby.
Yeah, but truthfully, again, I mean, you had the same views. It was, of course, I would kill that baby. It's to save millions of lives. Why wouldn't you kill that baby? But apparently, he has said that most of the time in his studies, a much greater percentage said that they wouldn't kill that baby, that they wouldn't be able to live with themselves.
No, they wouldn't.
And that's kind of I mean, I don't know if that's weakness or strength. Honestly, I don't know. Because from my point of view, it's a weakness. If you can't sacrifice something for the greater good of, like, millions of people, I mean, I don't know what the fuck you're doing as a human to begin with. I mean,
it's true.
I mean, and the thing is, when it comes down to it, you know, like he was saying, it's a very cutthroat world out there, and we have to be able to, like, make these types of decisions. But yet, a lot of people morally cannot, and I don't know if it's due to, like, morals that they picked up growing up due to, like, say, religion or certain belief systems, or, you know, growing up in a certain type of, I guess, environment.
Mm-hmm.
That led them to think that way. But me and you came from pretty, like, humble homes. And by humble, I mean, like, poor.
Well,
So,
yeah. I mean, we came up... we were brought up of knowing the right and wrong of things. I mean, enjoying life.
Going outside and playing with a stick.
Yeah.
Not needing toys.
I mean... Wow, just thinking about it right now, dude. Just playing with water, you know, with a garden hose.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Just in a bucket. Oh, this is my pool.
Speaking of youth, oh my god, it brings me back to that onion video that we saw. I don't know if you're familiar with it. In America, we have this thing called The Onion, and they're kind of like a satirical newspaper / news program, and they do all these fake little newscasts or whatever. And there's this old one that they did that we saw today about
12 or 13.
No, it was like a 12 or 13-year-old girl that the parents were. It struck up this huge, like, argument and debate in the country, and whether or not, because the parents had decided that they were going to euthanize their 12 or 13-year-old daughter because she was now only limited to like murmuring, rolling her eyes, and texting, or something like that.
And always
on Facebook. You know, and the way they made it seem is they made it seem like
she was in a vegetable
stage. Yeah, like she was a
vegetable,
and they were doing it for her own good because no longer is that their daughter; it's just a shell. And to me, that's just the most hilarious thing in the world, because that's how I feel a lot of the youth is today. And when I look at a lot of the kids that say I work with, even, well, not the ones that I work with, because the ones that I work with, they're very, very young, so they naturally don't have that filter. You know, there's a lot of bullying and a lot of name calling, and it's funny to watch these little kids work socially because it's brutal honesty, and they're extremely cutthroat. They are. There's no real manners when it comes to the babies. They are just. I mean, it's like Lord of the Flies shit. It's hilarious.
They tell you how it is straight out, the way they see
exactly. But once they get to middle school and high school, everything becomes a social and like a Big Brother type game. You know, everyone lies, everyone cheats, everyone sneaks behind other people's backs, saying certain things, blah blah blah, and it's all to gain status socially. And Facebook has become a great tool for that. And that's another thing. One of the things we were talking about in training, about how you know that our state, Texas, has the highest rate of student-teacher relations in the nation.
That's perfect.
It is perfect. But that's also to say that because we are the only state with a law that says that teachers cannot have relations with students, even if the students are of consent. Or at the age of consent, which I believe in Texas, Okay. In Texas, it's 17. In the nation, I believe it's 18. But in Texas, I do believe it's 17, isn't it? Age of consent?
I believe so.
Because because at the age of
what I've
17, you're officially an adult. But actually, no, I take that back. It must be 18 because you can't sign yourself out of school, like for a sick day or something, until you hit 18. But like, for example, there was a case where this woman, I think out of Fort Worth or something like that, she got into a relationship with 5 of the football team members that were all 18 plus, of course.
Okay.
But she ended up like inviting them over for dinner one night, and they had pretty much a gangbang with this teacher, and she was going through like a failing marriage and all this crap, and
yeah.
And what was funny is that someone had taken video. One of them had taken video, and the thing is, the teacher knew about it. The teacher knew that they had taken video or whatever, but it started to spread amongst the halls. Of course, like wildfire, right? Because it's high school.
Because they don't know how to keep it to You see, that's how it messed up. It was they don't know how to keep it to themselves.
Exactly, and so they ended up spreading it amongst the kids, and of course, some other people found out, and they ended up taking them to court. And so they charged her, and now I think she's serving like 5 years or something like that. And a lot of people think that, oh, that wasn't enough. But what was funny is that a few of the students, like of those 5, actually came out in her defense, saying, you know what, we're of age, we're adults, and we chose to do this. And she said that, and all of them said, yeah, we consented to it, and that was just the way it is. None of us were underage at the time it happened, and we were fine with it. But due to the fact that there's this law that states that the teacher cannot have relations with the student, and I'm not saying that it's good. By any means. No. I'm not saying morally that this is fine. I'm just saying that in this instance, I don't think that she deserved to go to jail, only because they were of age, they were adults, they can make up their own choice. They can make their own choices. She didn't force them to get boners and have sex with her. She didn't rape them. Bed, this is something that they all consented to, and they're all adults, and they chose to do it. Would I do that? No. I mean, if I were a teacher, but.
But if you were that student...
If I were that student, I don't think I'd mind. Especially since I'd probably learn more there than in health class. In health class, they don't teach you shit.
No, they don't.
So, I don't know. Those are just some of the things that were brought up
But
today.
You know what? Not even college as well. Professors cannot have any...
Sexual relations with students?
Students.
Really?
Yeah.
I know a lot of professors at Texas A&M that did.
Well, it's everywhere. It's always everywhere.
Yeah. My thing is, once you hit adulthood, that's one of the natural things that you're going to fall into. Sex is everywhere. Sex is a huge part of any relationship that you get into. I
don't know why they say it's not a big deal, because it is.
It's a huge deal. I mean, sex can literally make or break a relationship, period. You can be the best match for someone, but if the sex isn't compatible, that relationship might as well be dead.
Yeah,
because as hard as it is to say, it plays a huge part in that relationship.
It does, because it's gonna show you if you're gonna be, I guess, in our own natural instincts, you're gonna be the father. You better be like man enough to go ahead and do this or whatever. The women as well to go ahead and stand up and just do it.
Yeah, take care of the situation.
Take care of it, and you know what? Like for a woman, for a women perspective, for us guys, of course, we do have to perform to show that we're man enough. We're gonna take this. We're gonna have a family. I'm strong.
Yeah, of course. Well, you don't want to premature ejaculate, because that just ruins your manhood. And even not if from her perspective, even if she says it's okay, it is not okay. It is not okay. Like no matter who you are. I mean, yeah, it might be the first time that you've had sex in a long time. And that one time might be forgivable, but you better not make it a fucking habit. Yeah. Well, I think this will wrap it up for our little mini podcast, just to give you a little taste. We'll probably touch up back on a few of these subjects the next time, but hopefully not too much. We'll probably have some new material for y'all, especially once Joe gets here. So, anything else you want to add to the little mini cast here?
No, just keeping it mini.
Yep, keeping it super mini, guys. Okay, guys, see you guys later.
Bye.